I've studied our atmosphere and climate for nearly 30 years now, most of that time working for the U.S. government within NASA. I'd like to share with you one of the most striking ways science has changed during this time. We used to rely on our best understanding of how the Earth works to estimate future impacts of climate change, but now we see them already happening. When tropical storms like Katrina or Sandy come ashore, the damages are worse because sea levels have already risen. When our crops die on hot summer days, it's because the frequency of record hot temperatures has already increased. When the fire seasons in the American West get worse and worse, we're seeing the impacts of climate change-induced heat and drought already occurring. This is the new reality, and scientists no longer study if and when climate change might come, but instead how bad the impacts will become and how best we can reduce them.
Mr. Schindel, I'm just perplexed. I'm glad you answered your question to Mr. Lamborn that you need larger sizes of variances when he asked you about hurricanes. What record was broken a couple of weeks ago in Los Angeles? Do you know?
Oh.
It was the highest temperature recorded at that time. Do you know how long ago before it broke that record? 131 years. Was there combustible engines out in Los Angeles in 131 years ago?
We've seen.
No, the answer is no. And so my thing is to get back to Mr. Thompson, things are cyclical. And when you start looking at the world's geology, the rocks tell you the story of cyclical events. And to say that we understand this more than not is ludicrous. Climate's always changing, always changing. I mean, when you're going to have an elliptical orbit on a 1.8% tip on the atmosphere of the Earth, or the pole of the Earth, around an elliptical-sized sun that has solar flares, all of that is contentious. So with that being said, I mean, the science isn't settled. I think there's a lot of applications, and I think the gentleman to your left actually gives you a lot more information on why it's not settled.